Good afternoon and welcome to this lunchtime session in Orkney International Science Festival Online. Today is a special one for two reasons. One reason is that we're joined by the new Astronomer Royal for Scotland, Professor Catherine Heymans of the University of Edinburgh. And the second reason is that today's the day when we hear the outcome of the application by the community of North Ronaldsay for international dark sky status for their island. An announcement's going to be made at 1 o'clock today. We're going to go live to Florida to hear it direct from the International Dark Sky Association's Director of Conservation. We're also going to meet the man who gave the island so much technical help, lighting engineer Jim Paterson in Moffat. And we're going to round off with stargazing advice from Eric Walker, who's been encouraging the island with its astronomy activities. But first, Catherine, welcome to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Harry. I am on the edge of my seat. I'm so excited for North Ronaldsay. My fingers are crossed for you guys.
Well, they'll be delighted to hear that because they're joining us as well. I think I see a well-known face, John Oliver Scott, in the distance there. John, chair of the North Ronaldsay Trust. John, welcome to you. Could you introduce the rest of the group?
Certainly, Howie, and welcome to everyone from the North Ronaldsay group here. On my left, we've got Alison Duncan, who's also a director of the North Ronaldsay Trust. On my far right, we've got Helga Scott, who was a community development manager and was very much involved in the dark sky application. And right here on my immediate left, we've got Isabella Scott, who is the great niece of the late Kathleen Scott, who was very much instrumental in getting the whole dark sky project off the ground. And we've also got an audience here. There's about 15 people, I think, in the room, which is a quarter of the population of North Ronaldsay.
That is tremendous, John. Our thoughts were very much with Kathleen. When we were preparing the events today, we were thinking of the enormous amount of work she did. And Isabel, I think you should ask the first question for the Astronomer Royal for Scotland.
Hi, Isabel.
Yeah.
Have you got a question for me?
When did you start getting interested in the dark skies?
When did I start getting interested in dark skies? Cool. Do you know what, Isabel? I wasn't lucky like you. I didn't grow up in a remote place. I grew up in a town quite near London where it was very, very rare to see the dark skies. But we did get to go on holiday to Scotland one time, and the skies cleared, and oh my goodness, there were all of these stars up there. I thought, oh, I can't see that from home. And isn't it just amazing when the clouds clear and it's super dark enough, just quite how many stars there are out there. And you're really lucky, Isabel, because most children don't actually get to see them because they're all in places with lights and city pollution. So yeah, it's very special where you are.
That is a good question and a very interesting answer, because that then leads to the question, Catherine, of which side you went into. Some people go into the observational side more, some go more into the theory. Was it quite difficult to choose?
Yeah, so people often ask me, are you an astronomer or a physicist? And I say I'm an astrophysicist, which means I do a bit of both, actually. So I spend a lot of time collecting data from some of the biggest telescopes in the world. So the telescope that I'm using at the moment is in a very, very remote place called Paranal in Chile. It's a very tall, very high up above the clouds. So even if the weather's bad down at sea level, you can still observe. But I always think that there's no point in collecting data. You've also got to understand the physics behind it. And so what we do is we try and answer some of the biggest questions that there are to answer in our universe, like where did we come from? Where are we going? How did the universe begin? Where's it going to end? And we use our big telescopes to try and answer those big questions.
Now, I know that one of the big questions that you've honed in on as a key research area is dark matter. But what exactly is meant by it?
What is dark matter? That's a really good question, Howie. If I could answer that, I'd get a Nobel Prize. So if our theories are right, then less than 5% of our universe is made up of the stuff that we're made up of. And we think that there's a lot of other dark stuff in our universe. So there is something that we call dark matter. That's the strong sort of gravitational stuff in our universe that kind of sticks our own Milky Way galaxy together, and lots of other galaxies as well. But dark matter also has an evil twin called dark energy, which appears to be causing our universe to accelerate. We don't know what these things are, Howie, and that's kind of one of the big major questions in science at the moment, is what is going on in our universe? What are these dark entities?
Do you think some problems might be so difficult that they never get solved, and even that this could be one of them?
Oh, that's a really good question, Harry. Well, I think with enough good minds on it, like when Isabel grows up. Science is always trying to answer difficult questions. But to be honest, Harry, we never know. We can never prove a theory, only ever disprove it. So one of the theories that I like to play around with is Einstein's theory of general relativity, which is, the big theory. But maybe that doesn't completely describe our universe, and maybe we can explain this mysterious dark matter by trying to understand a little bit more about how gravity works in the rest of our universe.
So you've really got these two areas: dark matter, which is holding things together more tightly than you would expect, and dark energy, which is pushing them apart. And in each case, really, they're unknown. They're the known unknowns.
You can kind of look at it a little bit as a bit of a major failing for science that we don't understand 95% of the universe. But I like to see that, you were saying, is this too difficult a challenge? No, we love a good challenge. We love a good challenge. And when you don't understand something, it means that you're missing something. And in understanding these dark entities in our universe, it could be that we really revolutionize our understanding of our own world around us. That's why there are so many of us now working on these big projects. So the next project that we have coming up is at another fantastically dark sky site in Chile. It's called the Vera Rubin Observatory. It's named after one of my heroes. Vera Rubin was a fantastic astronomer who was one of the first astronomers who really found really crystal clear, solid evidence that dark matter existed around every galaxy that she looked at. And so this observatory has been named after her. And we are going to be surveying the entire night sky on repeat for 10 years. It's going to give us the deepest, widest image of the universe that we've ever taken. And at the same time, we're going to be able to track asteroids and any killer asteroids that may be coming to obliterate us. So hopefully we won't find any, but it's going to be an amazing new instrument, and we should be seeing first light opening the domes up sometime next year.
So with technology advancing, the potential then for technology and new observatories and new equipment and much more detailed pictures of the universe, that must be great.
Yes, no, it's I think we always, technology and science kind of go hand in hand, don't they? So there's no point in me thinking of all of these different ideas of the universe if I don't have any way to test them. But every time we build a new instrument or a new piece of technology and go and look out at the distant universe, we discover something that we've never thought of before.
Turning now to the post of Astronomer Royal for Scotland, what does it involve?
What does it involve? It's a 200-year-old post. So if I look at my 10 predecessors, I'm the 11th Astronomer Royal for Scotland, and my 10 predecessors were some amazing gentlemen. They were explorers. One was an Arctic explorer. One of them built the observatory here in Edinburgh, where I am today. They measured the first distances to stars. They were some fantastic gentlemen. But gentleman is the key phrase here, Howie. So I'm the first female Astronomer Royal to Scotland, so it's a real honour to be the first female. There are lots of female scientists, and it's great to be able to represent them. These days it's an honorary title. So it used to be that the Astronomer Royal for Scotland ran the Royal Observatory of Edinburgh. I don't do that. It's an honorary title. And what I'm doing with it is I'm using it to share our excitement within Scotland for astronomy and share it with everyone, which is why I am, it's only 5 minutes before we get to find out how I'm genuinely excited for North Ronaldsay. And I'm really wishing this pandemic over so I can actually come up and see your seaweed eating sheep. Isabel, is it true that there are seaweed eating sheep on your island?
Yeah.
No way.
Yes, they really, something like 2,000 sheep, and there's a 12 to 13 mile stone wall right round the island to confine them on the beach. And there are the most beautiful dark skies above the island, beautiful sight on a winter's night. Now, can I ask you something about astronomy general? Do you feel that there is more that could be done to bring it to more people, to enable them to enjoy it?
Absolutely, Harry. So as I was saying to Isabel at the start, I think if we just look at the population of Scotland, about 80% of Scotland live in the central belt, sort of going across between Edinburgh and Glasgow and sort of beyond on either side. So there's a lot of light pollution there. So even though Scotland has some of the darkest skies in Northern Europe, the majority of the population don't live in a place to really appreciate just how amazing it is. And if you can get people to really dark skies locations, then I think people have a real new appreciation of their place in the universe. When right now we've got the summer skies, and luckily the nights are drawing in, but we can see the Milky Way at the moment up in the night sky. And I love looking at the Milky Way if I'm in a dark enough place, because that's the spiral arm that kind of wraps around our own galaxy, and you can see it as this sort of stripe of stars across the sky, but you have to be in a really dark location to see it. And in doing that, it sort of really gives you this sense of our Milky Way being this flat plate, sort of a plate, and sort of we're within it, and we can just see that edge of our own galaxy. And the more we can share that with people, the better. And so one of the projects I'm working on at the moment is to try and get telescopes installed in all of our outdoor centres in Scotland, because so when our primary school students do travel out to these outdoor centres, which tend to be in really dark sky places as well, they get to have a look through a telescope and check out the planets if they're up, and other interesting astronomical objects that might be up when they're there. So the only thing we have to do now is wave a magic wand to get the weather to to work as well. But it's you can't have everything.
But that's a great idea, a telescope in outdoor centres, because those are the places with those beautiful views of the sky above.
Exactly, yeah. And not all of our primary school children, but most of our primary school children will spend about a week in one of these centres. So I hope at least one of those nights it will be clear enough for them to be able to take a look out into the universe and see beyond. Is
there more that could be done to help primary schools with resources like telescopes, or just general assistance? Yeah, so there's so much interest in space. I mean, Isabel's looking. Isabel, do you like space?
Yeah.
Yeah. All children love space. I challenge you to find me a child who doesn't love space. Do you want to be an astronaut, Isabel?
Would you like to go into space?
No. But everyone loves looking up at space, and so there's a lot of interest with kids, and so the more we can do to make it easy for them to check out the night sky. So another project I really like to do is just to get some telescopes out in urban locations, because even though it's not dark and you can't really see all of the stars, you can still do quite a lot with a telescope from an urban location. So that's another project I'm looking into.
That's interesting, because indeed, and I suppose in an urban location, even if you can't see many stars, well, maybe it makes it a bit simpler then to see those pared down constellations and recognize
exactly.
them.
And Saturn and Jupiter, if they're up, they're some of the brightest things in the sky anyway. So, and gosh, they're just looking through a pair of binoculars at the moon. I could do that all night.
I wanted to ask you something else, but I've just looked at the clock and realised
it's time for the big announcement, Harry. I'm
So here we go. I hope now that we'll have with us from Florida, Ashley Wilson, rather, the Director of Conservation of the International Dark Sky Association. And indeed, I'm glad, Ashley, you're in Florida rather than in Arizona, because you would have to get up very, very early indeed to join us.
Yes, I think it worked out quite well.
Well, we're waiting. Could you give us the outcome?
I can absolutely do that. After a decade of hosting events, raising public awareness, and addressing exterior lighting all across the...
Does that mean that it's a success? Oops. Just at that moment, we may have
lost Ashley at the crucial moment, Howie.
Just at the moment, Ashley's signal has gone, but she seemed to be saying, yes.
Oh, Ashley, you're back.
Oh my goodness, so much suspense. Okay. But then I'll try to make it brief. The Dark Sky Places Committee reviewed your nomination, and they, along with IDA, fully endorsed it. And they are pleased to announce that North Ronaldsay Dark Sky Island is now an international dark sky community, awarded this third day of September 2021.
Well,
well done. What an achievement.
That is wonderful news, Ashley. And I'm just thinking, it's really special, isn't it? Because there are not so many other places with this type of designation.
Right. You are the 35th community in the world to receive the certification. And it really shows your exceptional dedication to your dark sky. So not only are you celebrating this natural, historic, and cultural resource, but you're also doing something about it to preserve your night skies. You're hosting all these outreach events, you're educating your visitors, you're have an observatory and learning center to provide all these wonderful opportunities, but you're also doing something about your lighting to making sure that light pollution doesn't get out of control, that you have adopted a lighting management plan, and then you're working with even your residents to make sure that their lights are dark sky friendly so you can preserve that view of the universe for future generations. So it's really an inclusive and wholehearted effort for the entire community to become a dark sky community.
Well, this is just wonderful. We're going to go straight over now to North Ronaldsay and John and the group. This is a special day.
Oh, it certainly is. This is fantastic news. 10 years and we've finally got there. Thanks ever so much to everyone, the multitude of people who have been involved, a lot of them in this room and a lot of them on screen at the moment. Great news for North Ronaldsay.
I was going to ask John what it could mean for the island looking to the future.
Well, I think we've got visitors during a very short summer season, but we would hope that the dark sky status would help us prolong the visitor season, so we'd have more people coming to enjoy North Ronaldsay through the winter months. And of course, I mean, we've got fantastic sky here. There's very little light at all. The only really prominent light, to be fair, is the lighthouse, which doesn't interfere with dark sky in any way.
And this is coming, John, at a time of island regeneration, when there's a gradual increase in the population, that the school has been reopened. Will this be a boost towards the future?
I think it certainly will. Yeah, I think the population's increased by 20% in the last couple of years. As you say, how the schools reopened. Potentially more people moving here in the short term. So there's certainly a boost for North Ronaldsay, without a doubt.
Well, stay with us, John, and the group, stay with us, Ashley, because we're going over now to the man who did so much work on the lighting survey for North Ronaldsay. He was there right at the start 10 years ago, did much work on many other aspects of the application. That's lighting engineer Jim Paterson, now joining us from his home in Moffat in the south of Scotland. Jim, you're looking very pleased, but in fact, this is one. Hello, Jim, first.
Yeah. Hello, Harry. Yes, it is. It's really been quite a long time in getting there. And as I said earlier on this morning to others, I've been waiting for this for 10 or 11 years.
Well, you've certainly put work into it. Now, in fact, North Ronaldsay, it's added to quite a number of other ones. I wonder if there's a Guinness Book of Records for the number of successful applications for dark sky status. I would think that you would be there. Can you just say roughly how many other successful applications you've taken forward?
Well, only Ashley can answer this question, but I've certainly master planned 13. But I was just thinking just before we came on air, although 13 might be a large number of areas for a Guinness Book of Records, how many lighting units have I audited if you add up all those 13 places? And it could be somewhere in the region of 20 to 30,000 lighting units that I've audited just to get some dark sky status. So when I've got a spare minute, I'm going to go over all my applications and count up all the lighting audit units that I've carried out.
Well, we're now going to go over to a man who you'll know well. You were both out in North Ronaldsay some years ago. Eric Walker, who is here with the start of a new festival series of lunchtime astronomy tips. And it's a good day for Eric indeed to be here with us, because he's not only the chair of the Highlands Astronomical Society, but with these visits to North Ronaldsay on a number of occasions, Eric, you've been providing advice and assistance on night sky observing and some great sessions on using a telescope.
I have. I'll tell you, Howie, thank you for inviting me. And my goodness, isn't that fantastic news? I am absolutely delighted for North Ron. It's brilliant. 4 years ago, when I was over giving a talk and I met Jim, and the enthusiasm of the Islanders and of Jim was fantastic. But the thing that sticks in my mind, it was a crystal clear, dark night. The Milky Way, Catherine, ran from horizon to horizon. There were so many stars in the sky, I couldn't make out the constellations. It was wonderful. We had a Northern Light show that night, and we had a queue at the telescope outside the community hall, and we were queuing up with biscuits and coffee to keep us warm, looking at the night sky. It was wonderful. And I can just see in my head now that happening all again with visitors to the island. I think that's just superb.
Well, it's great, Eric, and we're looking forward to, I think, all the group here meeting in North Ronaldsay again next year. And in the meantime, you've got some tips for looking at the night sky. And I guess a number of people listening will be quite enthused now about the thoughts of all the wonders that they can see.
Yeah, well, what I'm going to use today for is just simply scene setting, what I'm going to do over the next few days, Howie. There will be links in the YouTube description, so you can link into websites, free night sky software, things like that. But one of the most dramatic things I did, I was bored last year about October, November during lockdown, so I decided to build an all-sky camera, which has a 360-degree panorama stuck on my roof, connected to the internet, so anyone, anywhere in the world, at any time, 24/7, can look up and see what's in the night sky, even from the brightest city lights. So I'll be putting a link in for that. At the moment, we are currently in moonless skies. The nights are getting longer. And what that means, of course, is that we've got perfect viewing conditions if the skies remain clear. Tomorrow, I'm going to be observing the planets, and I'm going to be a specific focus on Jupiter and its moons. As Catherine's already said, that is something quite special. On Monday, we're going to look at how to locate and observe bright satellite passes, including the International Space Station, which comes over early in the morning. Tuesday, well, what else? The Northern Lights. It's got to be the Northern Lights. Sunspot activity is up. The chances of getting good, bright, dancing northern lights is up there. So I'm going to show you how to observe and perhaps photograph them. And on Wednesday, I'm going to close with they'll look at one of the wonders of our night sky, which Catherine's already alluded to, the Milky Way. It's just beautiful. And we'll look at some of the wonders within it, Howie. So that's what I'm hoping to do over the next few days.
Well, we're looking forward to you joining us then, Eric. And just before I go back to North Ronaldsay and ask for a comment for the group to round off from Helga and Alison and John, and maybe a word from Isabella as well. Ashley, can I just go back to you? Various communities listening, maybe within Orkney, Shetland, Western Isles or beyond, will be thinking or realizing how important dark skies are for us all, but also the potential for their own community. For a community listening, whatever they may be, thinking about this, what's the starting point?
The starting point is really getting your key stakeholders and community involved. So it's really recommended to talk to your council and your administration of your community, just letting them know this is something that's important to you and why it would benefit your community, maybe holding some preemptive outreach events, start to talk about why it's important, educate the issue of what light pollution is, and that it has a tangible and clear solution that everyone can participate in. Every community has their own unique connection with the night sky, so it's really important to find that relation with your community and your residents, make that connection, and then use that to fuel and encourage everyone to do their part in the dark sky movement.
That's very, very interesting. And in North Ronaldsay, let's ask Helga. This is a special day.
It certainly is. Wow. Yeah, it's just sinking in, really. It's been such a long journey, and yeah, such a big
and Alison, there was long nights when you were out there with a sky meter measuring the darkness of the sky.
Yes, it's so great to hear that all the work that's gone towards getting the application together and getting it in is actually, we've got there in the end. I'm sure Kathleen would have been really pleased.
Yes.
And yeah, we just need to encourage people here to appreciate the dark sky. There's been some lovely nights this week. I've been watching Jupiter and Saturn, and yeah, it's great. Just let everybody else enjoy it.
And John, then next steps, John. I guess the island will be looking maybe encouraging dark sky tourism.
Absolutely, yes. And Ashley, thanks ever so much for some good guidance there on how we take this forward. We'll definitely be focusing on dark sky tourism, but it would be good to have all of you on the panel here. This winter would be great, but it looks like it might be next year. But it is indeed the next steps is making the most of this, letting people enjoy North Ronaldsay sky and promoting tourism without a doubt.
Well, looking around, I think everybody here is up for a visit next year. Eric, and I see Jim agreeing. Ashley, that would be rather nice if you would come across and visit us. And Catherine, it's not so far north to come north from Edinburgh.
I'm definitely coming. Yeah, for the seaweed eating sheep alone, for the dark skies as well. Definitely count me in. Isabel, I'm going to come and see your school. Okay.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you very much to everyone who has joined us today. That's all we have time for on a momentous day for the island of North Ronaldsay. We've actually more astronomy for viewers this weekend. At 7:30 this evening, we'll join Sigma, Murray's Astronomy Club, in the monthly meeting when the speaker will be Professor Charles Cockle, talking about the way in which microbes can help plans for space settlement. There are family workshops too, and at 4:30, you can make a model satellite. At 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, you can learn to navigate with the stars. And just before I round off, I've seen a series of congratulations that have been coming in from Matthias Vidmar, our good friend from Edinburgh. Really big congratulations from me. I was there in 2017 talking about dark skies and space as well, and the enthusiasm was great. from Fiona Graham in Orkney, fabulous. Howard Buxton in New Zealand, who has also been a visitor, congratulations. Stunning island, he says, love visit there. And Orkney Science Festival team sending congratulations to North Ronaldsay. And I think there's more coming in, and we'll look forward to those. In the nearer future, in just 3/4 of an hour's time today, instead of a telescope, you can look in the other direction through a microscope and see bees. That's at 2 o'clock. But in the meantime, from a wonderful group of people gathered here in various places in Edinburgh, Conan Bridge, Florida, and North Ronaldsay, it's goodbye for now.
Goodbye.
Thanks very much.